You're listening to Glow On with Charla Story
and Jennifer Wilson. We're not just photographers. We're your trusty guides in the world of photography, business, and a bit of life wisdom. Every week, we'll be lighting up your feed with practical tips, inspiring stories, and a sprinkle of humor just to keep you smiling.
We've captured luxurious weddings, mentored talented students at Develop Academy, and navigated the ups and downs of the photography world to bring you insights and strategies that work. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, boost your business, or just hang out with two friends who get it, you're in the right place.
So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy,
and let's dive into another episode of Glow On.
Hey everyone, we are so thrilled to be bringing you a favorite session from last year's Glowchella featuring the incredibly talented and hilarious Erich McVey. You know him for his capturing of soulful, intimate moments, and Erich shares not only his insights on balancing career with family, but also some really laugh out loud stories that had us, I was actually crying from laughter last year. So if you thought last year's Glowchella was amazing, just wait till this year. Tickets are on sale and we are leveling up with even more inspiration, unforgettable speakers, and all of the energy that you loved. Let's dive into Erich's Unplugged Q&A. And you guys, seriously, get ready for Glowchella 2024.
Hello, you guys. We are so excited to welcome Erich McVey to the Glowchella stage. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Charla and Jennifer? How's the event going?
We think it's going great.
We think it's
good. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I haven't seen you in a while. Rocking the stash.
Oh yeah. No, I have been. I've been in hiding, just secretly growing it. Thankfully, my wife doesn't even notice. So that's really all that matters. That's the go ahead for guys.
You found one of the only women who has that ability. Congratulations.
I know, exactly. I'm very thankful.
Well, honestly, it looks good on you. So that's what matters most.
Yeah, it's not giving Predator, so
yeah.
You're winning.
Not every man can do this.
Not giving off Predator. My wife does have those aviators, the gold frame ones that everyone's wearing. They call the serial killer glasses now, but they're cool. They're in style. And I don't know if the combination of those and this would be ideal for me.
You know, there's only one way to find out. I think you should ask her to bring them to you. So, yeah.
If you together look like a Halloween costume, then you should probably wonder if you love it and you want to lean in, or if you should maybe consider some different decisions. Only when you're together. Apart, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Especially after 13 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm. You guys are solid.
Yeah.
Honestly, anything like that, I kind of enjoy making people feel a little uncomfortable or making them question or wonder things, just because I like to watch their reaction, and you guys could have a lot of fun with that.
I've noticed you do that.
Yeah, I've noticed you do that too, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm screwed. The next hour I'm screwed.
Yeah, exactly. We're both kind of weird, odd ducks, aren't we?
Yeah, we are indeed. Well, Erich, you are, like you said, in hiding. You're elusive. It's hard for people to get a chance to chat with you, which is why we're wildly excited and grateful that you decided to join us for Glowchella Unplugged. And this is just a Q&A, everybody. So go ahead and jump into the Q&A and start asking whatever questions you would want to ask Erich. But we do know that we want to start with you talking a little bit about what you're in hiding and what really does that mean? And then what is it like to be a highly successful international fine art wedding photographer, father, and husband of 13 years?
Oh my God. Can I have you intro me everywhere I go?
Sure, for a nominal fee.
Yeah, that's funny. The in hiding thing. I would never generally describe myself as that. It's funny that came out because, I feel the last 6 months I was hammering away on the wedding trail, shooting my 15 weddings all over the place. I'm located in Oregon, so none of my work takes place here and hasn't for probably the last 5-6 years. There's just not a big wedding market, so it is what it is. And every time I shoot, I'm getting on a plane. But once that I finished my last wedding of the year a few weeks ago, and once that hits, I do feel like I'm in hiding. I go right into hibernation mode and project mode and family time and hobby time. I I think I'm like lucky, privileged at this point, being 15 years into my career as a wedding photographer, and I have the ability to take my foot off the gas pedal at times and lean into the relaxation and step away from the industry and photography and all that stuff. Obviously, I still enjoy work, and every day I'm doing something. I'm still in it. But after 15 years, I feel like I've learned to separate the two a bit to stay sane. And it is in service of not only myself, but also of the business and creativity, right? I think you both probably understand that in order to give your clients the best and give your work its best, you have to be able to relax sometimes and refuel and allow yourself that space to enjoy life so that you do still love your work. And I do after this long, because I intentionally take that time away. And I don't spend a lot of time online, for instance. Like, I never know what people are doing. I don't see stories. I have Instagram, that's it. And it's really only for like DMs and posting every once in a while. If I could, I probably wouldn't be on there at all. Again, a luxury after having done this for so long, but it really serves me personally and creatively. And I think when I do spend too much time on there, I'm not myself, and I tend to question. I don't know. I just don't get a ton of enjoyment out of it, and I tend to question my work more. And rather than focus on what I could be doing to be better, it's that comparison thing. So, but that all kind of plays into again, being able to step away and not be kind of drawn back in when I don't want to, right? But I'm still finishing up edits and stuff for the year, so I'm still putting in a few hours a day. But it is that hideaway time and just enjoy myself. But to answer the broader question of kind of what the path of the last 15 years has looked like, I don't want to drone on forever, so I'll make it brief. But I feel like the first 10 or so years before having a kid, it was like my wife, Amy, and I started the business together, and it was always harvest time. It was like we loved working 80 hours a week and like having special projects like workshops or online courses or whatever it may be to fill our time. Like business was our fun. Making money was our fun. And putting in those hours was like what we wanted to do. And so I feel like I spent that first 10 years just grinding away, like sun up till sundown, having a good routine, always looking for the next thing, kind of pushing really hard. A lot more like competitive too. Not that we always never disliking anyone or wishing ill upon anyone, but definitely more competitive, right?
Yeah.
And then kiddo came along. I only have one. I'm no expert on this whole topic. It's really not that hard to balance compared to someone with 2 or 3 or 4 or more kids. That's a much larger obligation. And my life is still very easy balancing these two things, but it certainly changed a lot. I mean, the main things that I noticed were leaving kind of any selfishness and routine behind. Yeah. And that took me a little while to figure out. I'm not a super selfish person to start out with, but we all, when we're either single or just married and no kids, we don't have as many others relying on us. We want to do what we want to do, and there are not a lot of constraints on that. And going from, I had my routine of waking up every day and having the coffee and going right into emails. And like, I loved that part of the day. It was my most productive part of the day. To I'm watching a kid for, all day really. And if I'm the one waking up, like we're playing and it's 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I am resisting putting her in front of a TV so that I can do what I want. But that gradually kind of falls away the longer you do it. You figure it out. And I've gotten better at that over the past few years, like leaving any semblance of, I can still be selfish for sure, but leave less of a semblance of selfishness and any semblance of a solid routine almost completely behind. One of the biggest things that comes to mind that I think about in that transition is I was about 10 years into my career as a wedding photographer at that point when we became parents. And I felt like I was very established. I was having like my best year ever, 2017. I felt super established, like, good social media following, great client base, lots of planners referring me, all the things you want. And so I felt like I could take my foot off the gas pedal just to parent and kind of leave the business alone when I'm not essentially servicing the clients and jobs that I have in that time, in that real time. Of course, I never let that slide, always still giving them the best, but not feeling like I needed to keep pushing hard because I felt like I had done that and that I had earned this time to step back a bit. I would say the next couple years business dipped a bit, and I think it is correlated to that. As much as we think, even if you can step away, it's like still there's something to the energy of still being in it, still being engaged in it, not completely stepping away, but still caring and being engaged and thinking about it. There's something to that I've found over these years that makes a difference because I kind of figured out after those couple years of a little bit of a slide that I need to get back after it, and things have definitely gotten better than ever since then. So that was a big part of my learning experience through that time. And nowadays, like I said, I'm shooting 15 weddings. Most of them are 2 or 3 or sometimes 4-day events, and half of them are international. And so when it is that time of year when I'm on a back and forth on a plane and on the road all the time, it's like finding that optimization of that balance between work and life, as I'm still figuring that out all the time. I think biggest things for me, one of the biggest things I've learned is when I'm on the road, making the most of that time I have to for filling up my own cup, right? It's it's hard when you fly 8 hours or travel 12 hours or even 4 hours across the country or whatever, to not just want to crawl into a hotel bed and, watch movies for the rest of the day. But it's like, I want to get in my exercise or my emails or some editing while I'm on the road, so that while I'm back home, I'm not constantly trying to catch back up on that stuff. Because I feel like I owe it to my family to, again, utilize that time. I should be thankful for that me time that I have, because a lot of parents never have that at all. They barely can find a moment to be alone and do something for themselves. So, right. I try to use that time to, to just make the most of it, maximize that time, do the things that, again, get into the hotel gym or go on a run or whatever, because it is hard to come by the time to do that when I'm back home, and I don't want to be making up for what was kind of wasted time on the road. When I get back home, I want to be spending that with the family. So that's been huge. I think that's the main part of what comes to mind with that stuff. Do you guys want to? Is there anything I mentioned that resonated or you had a follow up on?
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of like feast and famine. Like you worked really, really, really hard to buy yourself this time to have a little time to yourself, fall out of love with social media is what I'm hearing, which I'm jealous of. But that it's like a pendulum swing for a lot of us. Like we go so hard until we're kind of over it. Mm-hmm. And then of course that's like when great things start coming your way and it keeps dragging you back in. And then you have these exciting things happen in life. And now you have this have to find this balance, and the pendulum can swing, but it's all about finding when it calms down and that middle ground. So if you don't mind sharing, would you be willing to tell us maybe like an aha moment, or when you made a mistake that you were like, wow, that sucked and I can't do that again? Whether it's like maybe something, because kids say shit that like gut wrench you. So like maybe your daughter said something for you to be like, oh no. Or maybe you just had your own realization, or maybe it was a work thing, but whatever you're willing to share that made you, okay, I have to make some changes.
I think this one it's less of an aha moment and a bit of like just a build up over time of a big realization of and this is like, this horse is beaten to death. So forgive me if it's not a new idea, but being present, like not thinking about work and business and what I need to be doing, the list of to-dos, while I'm spending time with the family and kid, because they feel that, and even, pulling out the phone in front of them, it is a detriment to their experience, like with me. My daughter 100% notices when I'm not locked in with her, and even when I go to check the phone for whatever, even to just text someone back about a plan, it's like, I am really trying to grow in that department and be better at separating those two things. As a business owner, and especially someone, as we know, as like not everyone here, I don't think, is wedding photographers.
Right.
But as a wedding photographer, your identity is very interlaced with your success as an artist and a business person, right? So when things are going well, it's a lot easier to be happy and less stressed. And when like the money is not good, or the contracts aren't good, the bookings aren't good, that can really carry over into the rest of life. And that's something that I fight for sure, is not having that heavy cloud hanging over me when things aren't going super well from a booking standpoint. And I am starting to get stressed, and I haven't had a contract signed in 2 or 3 months, right? And it's like, do I need to reevaluate everything? We all get to, or do I just ride out the storm?
Yeah.
But those have been, I think, over the past couple of years, the biggest things that I've realized and been trying to work through and figure out. It's just separating work life from personal life, and not letting the business be my identity, and not let it be what gives me my self-esteem or value. Because also a lot of times, like when we are going through those little dry spells, it isn't because it's something we need to change, or something we're doing wrong, or we're a shit at business or photography or whatever. It's just like the ebb and flow of this industry and your business, and that's how it goes. There's sometimes it rains and sometimes it's a drought, and over analyzing it and overthinking it all the time it's hard to avoid, but I think it's smart to avoid if possible.
How do you do that though? How do you personally do
that? Just by working at it. Yeah, by intentionally telling myself, like, when I want to reach for the phone while I'm playing with the kid to check on something, it's like, no, it's harder not to, but I'm going to create good habits. And also I think having hobbies and interests and things that give me fulfillment outside of work, and even outside of family. Family and friends are a big one, but I'm into home projects and playing basketball and messing around on the drums, like all these things that I can fill my spare time with, so that I don't get bored and want to just scroll through Instagram or dwell over business stuff. It's like having distractions and fulfilling things, and things that also things that are hard, right? That make you push yourself are a good. They give you self-confidence, right? Because When you start out, it's like you question whether you're going to get better at that thing. And it's humbling, right? And then the more you work at it, you get self-respect because it becomes easier, and you go, oh shit, that was, I didn't think I was capable of this. And then you really give yourself that self-respect, and that's huge.
Yeah. We talked this morning a lot about the power of intention and how that affects your relationships and mental health. And I don't think you could be any more correct that like when you do feel like you're in like the feast and famine and you're more in the famine and you feel like you're a failure, finding something new that you can conquer, it sometimes can be all the confidence you need to keep going in the thing that's giving you trouble. And I think that that's fantastic. Such a good tip.
Well, and tons of people as of late, especially a lot of our students, are seeing a drought and they are actively questioning everything. So they've been like working and building and growing and learning, and everything that they're doing is they're building this beautiful foundation, and it will work. It's just that everybody is having, well, not everybody, a lot of people are experiencing.
Agreed.
And when we run away from everything that we just built and learned, that's how we actually end up in this constant loop and get stuck in this one section of business and life, because you have to have like the ability to hold out, to grow, which is really uncomfortable and scary and might not work. And that's terrifying. Preach.
Been through it so many times.
Yeah. And honestly, so one tip, and this just so everybody knows, I actually write notes to myself in my calendar. So like in 2024 in June, I'm going to be like, you had 4 weddings booked at this time last year for the next year. So don't freak out. And then when I look at my calendar, I'm like, oh, I'm just as shitty this year. So it's at this point anyway, you know, so I can like reassure my future self. So when I have a freak out, and I try to control my thoughts and emotions, that's what I'll go do, is I'll go set reminders so that when I'm okay and it all worked out, I can be like, well, you haven't gone without your ham and cheese sandwich yet. So
it's a really good idea. I might do that too. It's so easy to forget too from year to year. You never really remember.
Yeah.
And then you try and forget.
Yes. Usually I'm trying to forget. And then it almost always works out in the end, doesn't it though?
Yeah. It has so far. We'll see. You know, here we are.
Jury's out for this current moment.
Okay. Well, so you talked about traveling for work and having a family and kiddos. And Rich Lander is saying, since you're on the road so much, do you have any travel tricks or hacks?
Charred body. What's up, Rich? Travel tricks or tips? Some liquid IV for sure.
Yes. What's your favorite flavor?
I like the original, the citrus, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you?
Passion fruit.
I had something. Then you asked me about my favorite flavor. Liquid
You'll
IV.
get it.
Liquid IV.
You know, it's funny. It's with the culture of like next day previews, it's gotten harder, right? It's and that's been not the fight, but the interesting like working through thing for me over the past, I would say, couple years. Because when you travel for the wedding, you're not sleeping in your own bed and then waking up and you can like get right to, upload images onto your computer and get right to it in the morning with a nicely rested. It's like, if you want to, if I'm on the road for 4 or 5 days and then I'm only going to be home for a couple days and then on the road for 4 or 5 days and then that cycle 10 weeks in a row. Yeah. Keeping up on all the stuff is very, very, very difficult. And the last thing, 5 years ago, as wedding photographers, if we talked about, okay, the day after you just finished like 20 hours of coverage or whatever it is over the past 3 days or 12 hours of coverage the night before, that you're going to get on a plane and the whole time you're going to cull images rather than watch a movie. Right. It's like, no, that's not happening. I'm going to get my rest. So finding that balance has been very interesting. So, on the way home, I'm dead tired, but I'm going to put in this 5 hours of, whatever, picking preview images and starting to edit them so that, again, just like lean into it. When I get home, I'm not going to have time to do this. And when I get home, I don't want to be sitting at my desk the whole time. I want to be spending it with my family. So this isn't even, this is like a what not to do almost. This isn't a good travel tip, but it came to mind of, the struggles of traveling and making that work with today's culture of turning images around super quick. But no, I don't think I have any big travel tips other than what I mentioned earlier about optimizing, like using all of my free time. Like I'll go get a manicure. I'll go, I'll go find a gym at the location that I'm at. I'll catch up on emails. I'll keep up on work, all of those things, just so that I can spend more time at home, like doing the things that I love at home.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like everything you're saying is that you are very present in your mind about what is expected of you 5-10 steps down the road and what's expected of you in the current moment, and how you can lay those things out to be the most intentional and present that you can be for whoever is needing something from you. We did have a question that was like, what does your work and home life boundaries, what do those look like? And I feel like you've already kind of touched a good bit on the fact that you just do your best to be as present as you can for both of those two worlds. But are there any things that you implement on purpose to help you to do that keep you present and able to do so?
Yeah, I know. I think I'm getting better at it every day. I'm by no means great or an expert. It's just like, it's almost out loud therapy, right? Of continuing to tell myself to put big importance on these things. Because it's like, every day in daily life, it's there, and you're making those little decisions constantly, with how much to be present, how much to pull out the phone, how much to spend time at the desk, and how much to do the opposite and lean into the personal and family life and spending time with the kid and doing something fun. I think, being super kind of optimized has never been more important than when you have a kid or kids, right? You can't afford to be tired at any point. You can't afford, because from sun up to sundown, you better be efficient with, again, giving your kid their all, doing chores, keeping up on the business, spending time with your significant other. All of those things, like that takes 12 to 15 hours a day. And that's all of your waking hours. And so I think I've learned that it seems selfish sometimes to work on yourself and put time into yourself for your own well-being. But I think in many cases, it is the least selfish thing you can do, like taking a couple hours out of the day to make sure that you're filling your own cup, that you're feeling healthy, that you're pursuing your interests, that you're not resentful of your family because they're keeping you from those things. Like working on yourself to feel your best helps you optimize all of the time you have, and give everyone around you your very best. And I think that's what I've focused on and learned the most over the past few years of trying to work on that with myself.
I have a quick follow-up question, and then we have a question about previews. So we're talking a lot about like being present with our kids and how to make sure we can take care of our kids. And I have 2 little bitty ones at home and 2 businesses. And I actually struggle the most making time for my husband, because like I take care of the kids and then I take care of work. And then my dog, I swear my dog is like, oh, you're available? Not, I want this, this, and this. And then I take care of the dog. And then like, I'm exhausted and ready for bed. And my husband wants to like hang out. And I'm like, I am actually pretty bad at like thinking about making time for him. What do you do to make sure Amy doesn't want to kill you?
Your husband works outside of the house, right?
He works from home, but he
Okay.
doesn't work for himself. So he works for a company in the home, which might be worse.
Yeah. Some people, that doesn't work for everyone, I don't believe.
Well, it's just we're not hanging out just because we're there. We're both
Exactly.
trying to watch kids and work, and it's a nightmare. It's like a tornado. It's horrible.
So I have kind of a double-edged sword of sorts. Amy and I work together like on the business. This is her only job as well. So we're both at home all the time. We love that. That's the good part, right? We spend a lot of time kind of intermittently throughout the day, chatting, eating breakfast or lunch, like going on walks, doing errands, all those things. It's like that I would hope. It's like a very much a dream scenario for me.
That would be
However,
nice.
I can't rely on that too much because sometimes I'll take for granted. I won't really realize that we haven't had a date night in a while, or we haven't gone on a trip, just the two of us, because I feel like we're together so much.
Yeah.
And even though we are, and it's a beautiful life and we get all that time together, you also have to make gestures too, right? As a spouse. And again, intentionally, like I intentionally make time for a lot of things for myself and for the whole family. But that is something that will fall by the wayside sometimes is planning that date night, getting a babysitter, or getting the grandparents or whatever. And actually, keeping that romance alive. Because there's a difference between that and, just whatever, waking up and
cohabitating.
Yeah, exactly. Cohabitating. There's a big difference between those two things.
It feels like so he works from home and so do I, but he works for corporate America. So his schedule is very set. So it feels like when we are together at home, we're just running the home. It's a business. Being home is a business. Yeah. We're running that business together, but we don't, I'm just terrible at making just like hang time. That's not business related. So you're right.
Well, and your daughter is still so little. And so like, that's even harder.
Yeah.
Because how old is your daughter, Eric?
Almost 8.
Almost 8. So mine just turned 8. Well, and I think that like, you said something earlier and I don't want to diminish your world as a parent of one, because I think there are things that are harder when you have multiple and there are things that are different when you just have one, because you're their companion. Like you are her world. And obviously right now with younger kids also, that's still the same case.
I did that too though.
Yeah, you did.
I have an only child that's now an adult, not an only child anymore. Long story, but yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want you to feel like one has its own
right
as well. So
I agree with you. And thank you. No, I don't know what it's like to have, you know what it's like to have to have the different variations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what that's like. And there are certainly plenty of difficult things about just having one. And you put that very well, Jennifer, that I am her world. Right. And that's such an important reminder. And I'll remind myself of that all the time. I like the phrasing of that. That's good. That just, again, it harkens back to what we talked about earlier of how important it is to be present and how much they're going to notice when, they're giving you everything that they have. Right. So it's kind of messed up that sometimes we can't find it in ourselves to have the discipline, right. To give them everything that we have, because they notice it. They're very perceptive and they notice right away when you're not all there. Yeah.
What's the saying? To the world, you are a parent, but to your child, you're their whole world.
Oh, I love that.
It's really true.
It's true. And honestly, the biggest difference between 1 and 2 is like, if you have 2 dogs, you got to let the dog out to use the bathroom. Now you're letting 2 dogs out. So everything just takes just a little bit more effort and time, but it's very similar. Okay. We love talking about parenting.
We do.
But not as much as we love talking about next day previews. So are you putting that expectation on yourself, or is that something that is a conversation happening with your clients or your planners? Because this is a hot topic and you brought it up.
It really is. It's your fault.
Hi, Wendy. Shantae, you slay. She'll get the reference. That's been I was resistant to it when it first started becoming a part of the culture, but it was a lot easier when I was shooting on film. It didn't really make any sense because I'm like, all of my favorite images are on film, it was very easy to say, I don't do that because
Right.
I can't. And I'm not going to do previews with my digital because it's not my favorite work and it would make no sense. Right. So when I switched over to basically full digital, and it became more of just the way things are done to do previews, and every couple, every planner was asking about them. I had to have that moment of, do I kind of stick to my guns and keep, because well, to jump ahead, I've completely changed my tune on it. I don't know if I was resistant because for reasons of just not wanting to put in that time and have to spend those couple days after the wedding doing that, or because I felt like it was just not the thing to do and it wasn't in service of really anyone to do it. I don't know.
We can also say mirrorless cameras do a much better job in terms of everything.
Yes. No, that's made a huge difference. It's made it very possible. To create beautiful imagery with the cameras and the presets that are available in a short period of time and with a quick turnaround. So basically, the way I got my foot in the door with it was, a planner really pushed. I had said no a bunch of times and just not in a dick way, but just
not for me.
What if you didn't though?
A planner convinced me to do it. I did it, and then I delivered the images, and I was like, man, this is kind of fun. They were posting them the day after. I really enjoyed seeing that set of images. It was very satisfying. I kept going back to look at them. I remember.
Yeah.
Dope. These are good. I'm excited about these photos, and having that momentum of the wedding kind of carry over into those images was actually a really fun experience. And so, long story short, what I do is I've kind of set my own terms with it, which is that I just say I do previews, and I give a pretty big preview, like 100 to 200 images, because one of my biggest hesitations with doing, because the idea of a preview for me, I thought it was send 5 images, send 10, send 20. And I hated the idea of choosing. I'm a terrible curator. And I hate the idea of, because if it's 10 images, right, there's only going to be a few of those are going to be of the couple. And the idea that maybe they don't like any of those of themselves, and they come back and say, this actually is more of a negative than a positive, because now are they going to be worried about their photos because they don't like themselves, or they don't like those particular photos that I chose. So I've just found it's way easier for me to pick a bigger amount and just edit more, and know that they're not going to come back to me and ask for something more, or be scared that I missed something. And finding that balance, though, because I went too far a little bit.
It was like Eric sees your sneak peeks and he one-ups you delivering the wedding in 24 hours.
Exactly. I went too far, and I was doing too much, and then it kind of loses its impact, right? Because you really want to show the best. If I send 200 or 300 images, it's like, first of all, that's a third of the wedding. What do they even have to look forward to?
Right.
And second of all, are those all really the best images, or could I get it down to 70 from a 3-day event and have it much more impactful? Because each image has more of an opportunity to speak for itself.
Yeah.
So now I just say you're going to get a big preview. It's not a next day preview, but within basically the week of the wedding, you're going to see something. And I never hear anything from anybody negative. Nobody ever wants them sooner. I've never had a planner say, no, can you do them tomorrow? We require that they're the next day or in 2 days or whatever. People really respect that boundary. And I am able to create a non-fast food version of my work, because I go over the images on a desktop multiple times. They get retouched. They get everything that a final image in my gallery would get, which if I was doing a next day, that would be sacrificed for me. I could not deliver the same quality. I also like arrange them into a pleasing order for the gallery. So I put them into like, it's a non-chronological. It's like image, just more artistic version that makes it, I don't know, it just makes it fun as you scroll through the whole thing. It keeps it interesting and keeps attention. And that's more time. That's hours of time, kind of thoughtfully putting that together. So, but again, going back to if you're traveling 4 days and only home for 2, and then traveling 4 again, you got to make it manageable. You got to be able to deliver for the client and planner, but also make it realistic for yourself to be able to keep up on.
Yeah. I feel like having been in the industry so long, I mean, collectively, we've got a lot going on here. We've had to accommodate and morph like transformers so many times into what's expected of us and all of these things. So one of our questions is, are you done with film? Is the dawn of mirrorless now pushed you out of that realm for you? Are you transforming yourself?
So I am done with like kind of high quality medium format film for certain. I mean, I sold all 5 of my Contaxes. I don't even have a legit medium format film camera anymore.
Wow.
What I do is what I would call mix in a little bit of like dirty 35 and Holga.
Dirty 35.
You said dirty twice. Dirty.
Downright filthy. 35 millimeter, like a little.
Unplugged.
What you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing below where the camera can? Anyways.
That's why the name's up.
So I mix in some kind of fun, grittier stuff on film that shooting some Holga with flash, some 35 millimeter with flash for the party. And I don't want it to be perfect. I want some light leaks. I want some grain. Blurry is fine. I've kind of found a place where I can mix the higher end imagery, the more refined, clean imagery with that fun artistic stuff. And a lot of times if I have a third shooter on the wedding day, I also like, as we all I'm sure do some drone and stuff now. So there's so many different things we have to do now, right?
Yeah.
And I've been behind the curve on a number of things that I look back on and I'm like, God, I'm a bad decision maker. But like previews were one of them. I was late to that party, although it's all worked out fine now. But drone was another thing where I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Were you late to the styling party too? Did you style?
The what?
Styling flat lays.
Oh man. I strategically never I've remained terrible at it so that no one would expect me to have to do many of them.
And his lower back health is better than the rest of us.
Oh my God. Yeah, right? No, I'm always like groaning over, like holding the camera over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, so we had to do styling flat lays and be great at styling and great at details and great at drones and great at sneak peeks, but super present, amazing at timelines. And it's always like every year, it feels like our industry is adding some new element that we need to be excellent at, but it's not actually, none of the other elements are going anywhere.
No.
So it's becoming quite a production. And thankfully it comes in slowly, but it's a lot. I actually have a question for you. So you said you don't really work a lot in Oregon anymore, but you did work a lot in Oregon when we all fell madly in love with your work. And Oregon offers some very specific light and mood, which I think kind of is a little bit your signature style. How do you take that signature style and create Oregon style light all over the world?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that the answer is I don't try to fit the square peg into the round hole. I think that's a mistake that I made early on, and that we make as a lot of us early on as photographers, right? I remember doing a studio shoot, like in my maybe second year of shooting film, maybe 2012 or 13. And I had a model and like we were shooting veils. And I remember looking at Elizabeth Messina's like studio work and going, how do, you know, trying to do that thing, right?
Mhm.
That was never, I was only going to fail at trying to match what she was doing, that look that she had and those shots that she had. There are so many different variations that go, or so many different factors that go into, and decisions that go into creating that image. How am I going to know everything that took place to make that image? I'm only going to fail unless I'm just focusing on myself and trying to make the best image that I can make, and analyzing my previous work and analyzing the present situation and the lighting and the posing and all of those things in the moment. So to say, this is actually a big thing when I do client interviews that I talk about, is that go through my Instagram feed or my website. What you're going to see is a lot of different looks. What you get with me is I approach each event very individually and try to bring out the unique beauty of that couple and of that event and of that location, right? Rather than try to impose my look on and kind of push that through, or put some heavy kind of maybe preset on everything that makes everything look similar. You know, I think some photographers thrive with that, right? And their clients expect to get a certain thing when, and they know almost exactly what they're getting, right, when they book them. But I think that, you know, if I were doing that and trying to make everything look the same or fit into my kind of Oregon box, I would fail when I'm shooting in the Bahamas or shooting in Europe or shooting in California.
Yeah.
So I try to I think shooting film also actually really helped with this, because being present and aware and actually being in the moment. So we weren't able to look at the back of a screen when we were shooting film, right? So we were much more in tune with our surroundings and what the light looks like, and actually looking at it rather than just shooting through the uncomfortable moments or shooting and reviewing, right? That takes us out of being present with that. So I think that helped me as a photographer in being able to like step into a situation and really use my eyes and my brain to wrap my head around, how can I make this look beautiful and unique and bring out the most in it. And I think that's something that my clients love. That really, I get a lot of head nodding when I talk about go to my full galleries, look at open 4 of them. They're all you're gonna know that I shot them, hopefully, because of the perspective, because of the composition, whatever it is, because of maybe the finish on the images or the moments. But they're not all gonna look the same. They're gonna look very different. I'm gonna highlight what's beautiful about you, the couple. I'm not gonna pose each couple the same. I'm gonna like take cues from you and approach it very differently. And you're going to get your own unique set of images that doesn't look like anyone else's, and that hopefully highlights the most beautiful things about you and your wedding.
You're making it about them and not about you. That's we wanted a learning moment earlier, and what you gave us was, but that one was it. That was the one. We got there. Okay. I'm glad you're bringing that up. We can't talk about it a lot, or we won't get to more juicy questions, but 100% how you make people feel and your signature style is so much more than an image or a kind of images. Okay. We have like 7-ish minutes left, and we have a few questions, and I'm going to look at them, but since it's unplugged, it might be fun to get maybe a little juicy hot tea. Do you have, without any names of any kind, like a wild experience that you had at a wedding that you think would blow everybody's mind that you want to share with us? Like, what's the craziest shit that's ever gone down at one of your weddings? Nothing?
I'm just trying to think of what I can say that's not obvious, like, who it is, and then I'm not going to get myself in trouble.
Don't get yourself in any trouble. It could be... Well, how about you think on that, while we go to the next question, because I bet you have a question and think.
Well, how about, do you have one, or have you already talked about it?
Okay, we have some that we can share. Let's see. One time, well, we have some that aren't even ours that we know about that we can share. But
Yeah.
one time a groomsman was really, really drunk, and there was like the groom's room had like a double glass situation, and he was so drunk that he fell through and broke the entire wall of glass. We had a bridesmaid pass out on us at the Boston Library.
Yeah. We had a photographer write into our podcast once that she swallowed an SD card during an exit and had the whole wedding on it.
Like she put it in her mouth because it was full, and she put another one in, and then she was like going backwards and hit somebody.
Inhale, swallow.
So, things like that.
Amazing.
But if you
That's amazing.
We had a hailstorm.
Yeah, completely ruined
destroy
the
a tent
reception in Como.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's also that. And, obviously that's an act of God, nobody's fault. But that was wild.
Yeah.
What you got? What about you?
What you got? No, I'll keep thinking. The ones that are coming to mind, I hate to say that I just cannot say them without the risk of
we don't want
being
that.
very obvious, like who they are, and it getting back to somebody. So
okay,
that's fair.
Well, you think on something like PG-13 and not quite rated R.
Yeah.
Dirty 35.
Okay. How much posing and direction versus pure documentary would you say you are? And do you have any favorite prompts that you could share?
I think I'm a healthy mix of both. The client wants to be led for sure. They want to know that you have their back. They're not professionals at being lovey-dovey and knowing what to do. So I always kind of describe it as giving just enough direction to sort of direct you into those real moments.
Yeah.
Go-tos. Yeah, that's funny. I don't actually, one of my favorite bridesmaid ones that I've been doing is when you have them look at each other or whatever, BS. After you do the main stuff, I tell the bride to look, make eye contact with her favorite bridesmaid. And then that always gets it going. It works 100% of the time somehow.
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, exactly.
The drama.
Yeah, I like that. Since
you're doing less film now, do you keep them separate in your final gallery or do you blend them in?
I blend them in, and I'm OCD about it for sure.
Agreed.
Chronological order. It still works. People aren't going to be like, what is this? Whole square image doing next to this medium, this digital 4x6. They don't care.
No.
And it actually makes it fun sometimes. So yeah.
I agree. And they're looking at it as a whole first, usually like a scroll of all of them, and then they go through them individually. So I think it's a nice journey to take them on in storytelling. Wendy wants you to know that she loves you and wishes you were going to Harry Potter World with us. Oh yeah. I forgot about that because I don't care. Just kidding.
Savage.
Well, we'll miss you. Whatever.
I went to Harry Potter World. I know.
You did that once. I don't need to do it again.
I went to Harry Potter World a couple years ago in California, and I waited like 2.5 hours to go on that main castle ride, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah. Wow. Well, don't forget, she's going to jump into the comments and tell you this, but you don't have to do any waiting.
I'm doing it. I'm saying this just to bother Wendy. Of course.
Great. Did you see me go like? Okay, so the question that we have left, we actually kind of talked a lot about.
She called you a dumb baby.
So if you've come up with anything juicy that you want to share with us before you go for your unplugged session, or anything that you wish that you were asked about, like your cat or
oh my God, my cat. No, I haven't.
That's how you feel about your cat?
No, actually, I do. I am very annoyed. I have 3 very millennial cats that require a lot of. They're like shitting on the floor lately because the litter boxes is just a constant battle with moving them and having the correct materials in there that they don't approve of. They all take medications. I just had to take a hamster to get put down. Actually,
Okay, I don't like where this is going. This isn't the kind of unplugged we're looking for.
Actually, okay, I'll tell you a random story to make up for my non-wedding.
I'm like, give us something juicy.
R.I.P. to your hamster, though. Our condolences.
Thank you. Peach was my whole world. No, she was very special to my wife, and less so to my daughter, whose room she lived in.
But we have this in common.
So I know we're down to like less than a minute. So
break a little.
We can eat into the break for your juicy story.
When Peach the hamster was getting sick, I took her to like a specialty. For some reason, it was me. I don't know why. Amy was busy or whatever. So I took her to a specialty vet to figure out why like some of her hair was falling out. And so, why are you laughing? This is over the dead.
I'm about to cry and laugh.
So I took her in, and what they were going to do is the vet tech picked the hamster up, and they were going to scrape a little sample of like skin where the hair was falling off to see if it was like a pest or something that was biting, living on her. And as soon as he goes to scratch the hamster's backside with the little scalpel thing, the hamster goes and makes this crazy, it literally screams like very, very loud. I've never heard anything or seen anything like it. And it turns around and bites him on the finger, and he throws it. He throws the hamster up, and it helicopters and smashes into the wall. Peaches, I know, and lands on the vet table, thank God, and is running around, about to run off. He's bleeding everywhere. It's like broken skin. There's blood all over the table. And anyways, we wrangled her, and everything ended up.
We took both of you.
Ended up fine, but yeah, he threw her straight into the wall. It was horrible.
You heard it here first, folks. Eric is just like the rest of us.
You know what? You're right. That is, Maggie just said Unplugged became Unhinged, and I couldn't agree more. We started Unplugged, and we're ending it Unhinged. And now I feel terrible because I didn't realize that your interesting story was about Peaches, and I tried to cut you off because I didn't want to talk about the death of Peach. But it was used first.
That's not how she died. She lived.
You survived that experience.
Yeah, she survived. And,
listen, Peaches is a legend and an icon.
He did this on purpose. He was like, out of time, can't share any.
Well, we are really sad that you lost your
Peaches.
hamster.
Thank you. I can tell you're sincere. By the way, Charla's almost crying, laughing still.
Can you tell by the color? My eyes get way more like ridiculous. They get like gray, and I'm sweating. I can't wait to take this sweater off.
Yeah, we're both sweaty right now. It's happened.
But I told you that you also like to make people uncomfortable, and I'm glad that you proved me right. We have this in common, and I couldn't love it more. Hey, thank you for joining us today. I feel like this is the one that will be remembered the most. We appreciate your time. Tell Amy we said hello, and I hope that you're able to go and enjoy your day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for working us into your intentions for today.
Hey, no, I couldn't be happier. I'm honored. I really had fun talking to you both. Thank you, Charlotte and Jennifer. Have a great rest of the conference.
Yes,
thank you.
We will. Thank you. I'll see you in December, I guess.
Yeah, see you then.
Bye, Eric.
Bye.
Before you go, let's talk about the event you don't want to miss. Glowchella 2024, baby. It's back, and this year we're bringing even more of the magic you loved. Inspiring speakers, real talk, and actionable insights that'll take your business to the next level. And the best part? Your ticket comes with lifetime access, so you can rewatch any session, anytime. Plus, it's all online, so you can tune in from anywhere, even in your comfiest sweatpants. Don't wait. Grab your spot at glowchella.developacademy.com or the link in the bio, and get ready for a serious dose of inspiration. We will see you there.